When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode. Oh, crap, I got stage fright. That was just you and me. Oh.
Yes. I was like, sorry. Was it the way I came in and looked this morning?
Well, welcome to the show, Liza. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Oh my gosh, everything comes full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, who would have guessed?
Right?
You hosted me, this fall?
This fall. 3 months ago, you agreed to be my first guest on 8 Billion podcast. So thank you so much. It's such an honor now for it to come full circle and for me to be on your podcast.
We got to help each other out in this journey.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Well, as everybody knows, we're in a new year, 2021, and we're going into the second quarter of the year, and the interest rates are all-time low. And you're a real estate agent in Southern California, you're closing major crazy deals. And if anybody needs a real estate agent in Southern California,
yes,
reach out to Liza.
Please, I'd love to help you guys all, whether you're buying or selling, investing. That's another thing. Yep. Interest rates are at an all-time low historically. Yes, absolutely. And real estate market in Southern California it's amazing. I mean, it's holding its values. Homes are just raising their values because there's low inventory currently. So that's what the current market as of right now is happening. So that's January of right now when we're speaking, because I don't know if this is actually going to go out in a future recording, but yeah. But I know this is live too. So anyone that's on here, yes.
Lock in your rates.
Yeah. Lock in your rates. Absolutely.
Yeah. I did a refi on my place and I had a 3.33 and I just found out yesterday with 2.5.
Yep. Isn't that amazing?
That's cheap money. I
mean, everyone even in summer of 2020 was like, "Oh, this is the lowest I've seen." And I've had clients that locked in at 2.375.
That's nuts.
It's insane. He actually did a buy down to 2.5. And then by the time he closed and they brought it down to 2.375, and it was amazing. It was so cool to actually, for him to actually lock in that rate for a 30-year fix.
Right. And if you're a veteran, you need to take advantage of your VA certificate also.
Yes.
I highly recommend that. That's what I did. Zero down.
And
100% financing on most.
Yep.
And you can't beat it. There's no other program like that. Zero down.
Yes. I'm so glad that we have such great programs for our veterans. It is rare, 100%. And VA, you veterans out there, definitely take advantage of that. 0% down and the low interest rates, you can't beat it.
And you can refi your house with the existing VA certificate, which is what I'm doing.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know you could do that. But Texas will not let you do that.
Oh, okay.
If you do any banks that are based or headquartered out of Texas, because of the rules and regulations, you're not allowed, I guess, unless they change the rules, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not allowed to take a second or a line of credit off your property in Texas.
Oh, okay.
You may want to check on that to verify that.
Yeah, I'll definitely check on that. So I specialize in the Southern California market, and it varies. Stipulations vary from state to state.
Okay.
So it'll just all depend. So definitely check with your local VA offices and your resources there with your agents and your lenders. So then you have a good understanding of how the market works, especially if you're either in the market to buy or in the market to refinance. But like I said, this is historically low rates. Some of the real estate experts that I listen to have said that we are going to stay low for pretty much 2021. So it's really good right now.
Are they thinking, I'm hearing talks, conversations on the phone with different people that there's a possibility of a real estate market correction where the values may drop substantially because of the COVID-19 and everybody being unemployed and the CARES Act and people not being able to pay their bills. Are you hearing that rumor too out there? Is that just rumor, or is that what the experts saying there?
Well, it's rumors and experts talking, but when the experts talk, they back it up with statistics. So especially when what happens in a pandemic, which is called an unforeseen circumstance, right? Where things start to change, things that were unforeseen, job losses happen. You have to start paying attention to the statistics. Now, what was really good about 2020 was to protect a lot of the American homeowners. They did forbearance programs. And what a lot of you guys probably should know is that initially they launched 3 months. However, by law, you are allowed to do forbearance for 1 year. Just make sure that if you are in a forbearance program, that you understand what your forbearance requirements and rules are, so that you in most cases, if you are under the pandemic forbearance, it will tack on to the end of the loan.
Okay.
So it's not like you come up with a lump sum and then when you're ready to pay, you have to figure out how to pay that. That's what's really good about the forbearance programs right now under the pandemic. But with that, eventually that time lapses. And whether you've either had an ability to recover or found a job, or, there's so many different circumstances. Unfortunately, what it does look like is there are going to be people who won't recover from that. So whether you're able to identify that early on in the stage and just say, look, I don't want to go into deeper waters. And then you'll look at either like potentially listing your home, or, you work something out with the lender. That's, those are the situations that you're starting to see. However, I heard that Biden actually just extended the moratorium another 6 months. So I don't know. I think if that's 6 months from this time or 6 months from March, because the forbearance program started in March of 2020.
Got it. Okay. We'll be right back, folks, within another couple minutes. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be right back. When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode. We are back from our break. Well, Liza, I want to go into the possibilities of the what-if 50-50 factors of the spring and summer with real estate and the Wall Street. And what's your take on all that?
Yeah. So as far as the real estate market goes, one of the things that I encourage a lot of my clients or friends, or even just you and the general public to do, is just kind of take a look at market statistics. Everything is going to vary from state to state. I, of course, specialize in the Southern California area, so values are high. One of the things that you will notice is what's kind of hard about the pandemic is it affected people from all around. So it's not a geographic specific area or anything like that. You could have been, in the entertainment business, or you could have worked in corporate, and just all depends, right? So you're going to see a mix of different things happening. And like I said, there's different pockets. So sometimes in the higher end homes, they might not be as affected as homes in the lower price range. Those that were, like working, in corporate America, or so what I'm saying is there's going to be different pockets of statistics that you're going to have to look at. As far as a market crash, I don't think that it's going to be as harsh as the 2008 to 2013. What was happening in that specific market was just that there were all of these 100% financing loans that were coming up to a year, and now it came to the point where the mortgages doubled, and there was just a high volume of people that couldn't refinance because there was no value in there to do that. So what happened in the market crash of 2008 to 2013 is that mortgages doubled, right? And then they couldn't afford that. And then all of a sudden, everyone started defaulting, and there was just a large volume. So the banks couldn't handle the volumes of defaults that were coming in. And what you had working against you was time, because you typically have 3 months before you go into pre-foreclosure, and then another 3 months before you go into foreclosure. But imagine you have this huge load of everyone coming at you with defaults. That was the market crash of 2008 to 2013.
How are we different now between that 2008? Now we have the COVID-19. We have businesses shutting down everywhere. What's the differences? So the difference is, okay, one, we had the unforeseen, circumstance of the pandemic. However, we did come from that market, and it wasn't too long ago, if you think so. So the banks are more well prepared for something like that. They'll have their loss mitigation and their asset managers. They'll be able to just take a look at these numbers. Believe me, they started looking at these numbers already from March. So it's not anything like we're coming up a year. They know their assets, and they're more. The good thing is that the forbearance programs were designed to just tack on at the end. So it's not where these people are going to be in a frenzy to try and come up with, 12, 20,000 to bring their mortgage current. So that's what's really good. It's just going to be those situations, those individual situations where someone hasn't fully recovered or is not making that same income. They've just got to be able to decide, okay, look, I'm just going to either get out of my home, whether there's equity in it or not, or I'm going to let go, speak to a real estate professional, and just understand what my options are. So I encourage everyone to do that. If you're going through a distress situation, I just encourage you guys not to wait as long. Seek all of the information and education you can by meeting with your real estate professionals and your lenders first. Talk to your mortgage banker. So I think that's what's going to happen is you got a lot more educated people, whether they hurt from the 2008 to 2013 crash. And I just believe a lot of people are more savvy, but like I said, unforeseen circumstances, some people aren't always going to recover. So there are going to be those one-offs. And I am starting to see those when I'm starting to look for homes in the market. Another thing that you're going to start to see is people with equity feel that while the market is still hot, they're going to offload, take the equity they have, and kind of sit and watch what the market does, and probably go in on a better deal if they feel like the market falls. That's one. So you're going to have a mix of two people coming on the market. People that are offloading to get their equity, and then people offloading if they're in distress. So that,
that's what's going to be really interesting as you're going to have to find your real estate agents that are professionals to understand how to comp your house when that time comes, especially when there's a lot of volatility in terms of, you have pending sales and you don't know if that next pending sale is going to drop everything down, right? So that's what's going to be interesting. As far as the stock market goes, it's kind of interesting. I don't really play heavy in that game. I do have to admit, guys, that my son did try the whole GameStop thing. He's 6.
He got rich.
He's like, this is it, Mom. And I was like, oh my gosh. But, I do have to, just to our audience that's listening, my son is 16. And I want him to understand the name of the game, that it goes, as much as the professionals say, it's, you have to take all the emotion out of it. In fact, my cousin tells me, he goes, this is the key. He goes, if you don't feel good or you're scared, he goes, you buy. And when you're happy, you sell, right? And it's crazy. That's a good gauge if you just want like a standard gauge. But I did let we went in this together. And my son started freaking out because we were able to purchase on our institution. However, that was the same morning that Robinhood had stopped everyone from purchasing that stock. So we literally put in the orders before the stock market opened. Then I Googled it and I saw, my gosh, Robinhood's not lending. And we were watching it go down. My son was like, my son was having a hard time that morning.
Was he? How old is he?
16.
Warren Buffett. Oh, in the making. In the
making. I said, wow. He's like, are we going to be okay, Mom? Are we going to make this in real estate? And I was like, okay, if this was a $2,000 to $3,000 lesson for my son to understand we're going into real estate, I said it served its purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lesson learned.
It is a lesson learned. Yeah. It's like education, right?
It is. The best way to learn is a little pain, You don't forget pain.
It was interesting though, because we decided on certain shares, and then I started getting the notifications that he was selling, and I was like, don't sell.
Wow.
Yeah, he was starting to offload it out of fear, and so I was like, don't let fear do that to you, right? Be fearless.
Yeah, fearless mindset. I mean, I think Warren Buffett's been fearless in his entire life, but he's a very calculated, fearless kind of guy. I actually read his book Snowball. That he I don't know if it's an autobiography, but it's about Warren Buffett. It took me 3 months to get through that. Oh, sorry guys. Just flip it back on. Yeah. There we go. Sorry about that. That was
our timer.
That was our Timex ad right there.
Yeah, that's our sponsor.
I wish. One of these days. I'm self-funded. Thank you very much. No one can tell me what I can say or cannot say.
Right.
It's a pleasure of being independent.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
But yeah, I read his book, Snowball, and that's when I started testing the market back in 2008.
Okay.
Ford Motor dropped down to $1 a share. I'm like, I was making some good money in Southern California. So I just tried it. And that $1 share became $20 a share 8 years later.
Wow.
Sold it and rolled it into Facebook.
Wow.
And bought some other stuff. And to this day, the guy I used to talk to about stock stuff, he's, well, Tesla, $25 a share then. I'm like, power car, electric cars, who's going to buy that? $50,000 for a car? No one's going to buy that.
Lots of people. They became the biggest car manufacturer in the world right now.
Yeah.
Did they beat out Toyota?
I think they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a big Elon Musk fan. I know my family's going to make fun of me because I'm such a huge Elon Musk fan.
Little nerd.
Yeah, my son says, "Oh, Elon Musk is like your Lord and Savior." He made that joke. He goes, "Elon Musk, your Lord and Savior." And I was like, I said he's just so bright, and I believe that, like, he's expanding the, I think what he's doing is definitely amazing for human beings.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Smart man.
He is. And then I think Warren Buffett's almost 90. He's still eating cheeseburgers for lunch and drinking Diet Coke.
Right.
I'm like, his artery system must be working okay. He's still
Warren
alive.
Buffett is from Omaha?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha, Nebraska. And he still lives out there.
Yeah.
He's probably got an amazing mansion out there.
Yeah, I read an article. He said his security guy makes more money than he does. And his security guy is a good friend of mine.
That's amazing.
The guy's just very frugal. He just doesn't spend money. He just good. He understands his market, his businesses, and the concept of what he's investing into, and it works for him.
Yes.
Well, he said, invest in a company that you understand and it makes sense to you.
Yeah.
That simple.
Yeah.
He's a very simple guy, but the guy is a prodigy. I mean,
yeah,
started making money when he was 10 years old or whatever.
See, he understood conceptually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's, in some cases, that's not, like in a lot of cases, that's not the situation for all of us. He has, I feel like he had some type of gift to be able to understand conceptually what that was at an early age, and maybe not even put emotion to it and just see it from a, conceptual standpoint. But that's amazing for him. The good thing is that he's sharing it in books. So if you're able to like educate yourself on the things and maybe follow some of his advice, you can do the same for yourself.
Now, how old were you when you got in real estate? You're younger?
I was 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My mom was in real estate and she made all of us, it's me, my brother and sister get our licenses at 18. More me and my brother, at least. My brother was always going around with my mom. So on listing appointments, he was 9. Wow. He knew contracts, actually. So he's our contract guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. So since that age, you've been doing it ever since. Did you ever get sick of it and want to get out of it because you're bored with it, or you've always loved it?
No, actually, to be honest with you, there was a time frame that I did leave the business for a little bit. Okay. I did have other jobs. It was, it was just a matter of kind of going out on my own and figuring things out. And then you realize, and I have to say that there is a dynamic with like having a family business, and it's not always going to be it's not going to always be fun. That's why they have reality TV to show some of the family dynamic, right? In most cases, it's dysfunctional, you guys. Yeah. But it did take that, and that's what they say. Like, this is probably perfect for Fearless Mindset podcast. Sometimes I had to walk away. Sometimes my mom had to say, go do your own thing. So you could figure out the value of what I'm providing you. And I did that for many years.
Wow.
However, what was really cool was because my whole family still continued to do it, I was so ingrained in it. So I understood like the transactions that were going on that my brother and my mom were working on and all this kind of stuff. And it's really neat. Like, of course, a lot of regulations change after the big meltdown. But I mean, for the most part, it's just more disclosures. Right. Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask you about your podcast you recently had with one of the top podcasters in the country. You're pretty excited about that with your podcast, and it's 8 billion podcast.
Yes.
And you're excited. You've been going out for how many months now?
I started in October. I think I launched my first episode. Yeah.
And you're actually one of Christopher Decker's clients.
Yes, I am. Super excited. We're all part of the same team.
And we got a phenomenal producer, and they take great care of us. But what do you think in your journey with Salescast and Chris Decker and Colin and the team? What do you think helped you get to the point where he was willing to do something with you? Did you have to do anything in your your journey that he saw? He decided to jump on and help you out.
Are you talking about John Lee Dumas?
Yes.
Yes. So what ended up happening was, I had a great experience with my producers here. They listen in on the creativity and the vision of the show and help me hone in. And so when I launched, it was a great, I launched with so much momentum in terms of the way that it was all put together. So of course I don't have the tech savvy side, and they take care of that.
Right.
But it was so neat working with Chris, especially in the boot camp. He just really listened in on everything that I had a vision for with the podcast and brought it to life in a few hours. We launched my first interview. From there, what it takes is it's just a series of your network. If you know how to either leverage your network, right? And I don't mean leverage, take advantage. What you do is you have great connections. And if you're a really good, good person, sometimes you're going to get turned down. But what I did was I did a mastermind. I did a mastermind with 6 individuals out there with a coach named Brandon T. Adams. He brought in some great mentors in that 13 weeks. And from there, we had a chance. John Lee Dumas was one of the mentors. And from each of our classes, we get to ask one question. So for many of us, there were four podcasters for us. John Lee Dumas said, Brandon has been such a good friend of mine and he's helped me with my business. I'm happy to do this for you in your network, Brandon. And so he did. He agreed to, I think he does 15-minute podcasts. So he's big on getting on other podcasts as well. So as much as he delivers some great podcasts out there for entrepreneurs on fire,
right.
he believes in that, like getting on other podcasts so then he could share what he does.
I watched his YouTube video after you mentioned him, and I'm new to this game too, and I watched it. I'm like, oh wow, because he said he'd put tons of content out there. He'd put tons of content out there, and nothing was tracking.
Yeah,
he wasn't getting any traction. And all of a sudden, he just made some little adjustments in how he did it, and then it just exploded.
Yep.
Just little adjustments.
Yep. He openly talks about like it wasn't always like successful, and he didn't know. And I think he says in his 13th month or right after he hit 1 year. But that's what it takes, you guys. And it's not even John Lee Dumas who talks about it. A lot of podcasters talk about it. It's just consistently putting out your content and getting out there. Because eventually, as you rotate through all the different podcasts and you share your stories, eventually you're gonna reach traction. But say for instance, you only have 5 and you know what I mean? How is that gonna really circulate? You've got to really, once you get out there into the podcasting world and circulate amongst all the different podcasters, your name is gonna reach traction.
And then the biggest reason why you did your podcast was just to impact people's lives. That was your biggest mission, your biggest heart, because your mom had a big influence on that, right?
Absolutely. So she was big on that. So she was an amazing businesswoman. However, one of the big things that many people would remember her for was her big heart. And it's interesting how much she did. She did millions in business and real estate. Yet the one thing that everyone remembered her for was her compassion, her love, her ability to help people and be generous. And so she became the driving force for me to do a lot after her passing. I ran a half marathon. But it was amazing though, because, you start to bring things into focus, and 2020 did that for, I would say, there was not one person that was an exception to the rule. Everyone was hit in so many different ways. It made you look within to really understand what was most important in life. You and I had that wake up call before the pandemic. So we were kind of ahead. We were kind of ahead of the curve.
We jumped on the surfboard really quick.
Yeah, we did jump on the surfboard.
Yeah, you reached out to me and I'm like, oh, you're the first one to reach out to me about anything. I'm like, what do I do with this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, Chris, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
I'm used to, doing the business development for the security industry and putting our veterans to work and military guys to work and retired cops to work and doing bodyguard work. And then, I had to go from that bodyguard brain to now I'm podcaster, entrepreneur, and got to network with people and be open to discussion. And it's wild, but it's great to see you track the fast as you are and having him on your podcast. And it may just, I don't know if it did tweak a lot of stuff, because I know we talk offline quite a bit about tips he's given you and how to change your strategies. And how's that going?
I actually have to implement that.
You're a little busy over there.
Yes. Thanks, Mark, for calling me out. Just kidding.
5 different companies.
5 different companies. But there's minor tweaks. So for anyone that is in podcasting, another thing to do is just like, whether you're consistently, one thing is to be consistent. So if you're putting out a podcast every Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, another minor tweak that you could do is another 5 to 7, like a 5-minute clip, whether it's a review of who you interviewed or some tips. So and it goes to show, like, that's exactly it. So John Lee Dumas was big on, his thing was like, entrepreneurs have to have a message every day, because his whole thing was, he was listening to podcasts once a week and he was just like, oh, what am I going to do for the next 6 days? So he knew that there was a need to keep a momentum going. And even if they were small messages of inspiration, he had to put something out. 1 year. You know what I mean? 1 year of content. So he really committed to it. But he's amazing. He was in the military, went to law school.
Officer too.
Officer in the military. He's a bright and intelligent guy, and he committed fully to it. And then now he's so go look him up, guys. He's amazing. Amazing guy, kind heart, genuine soul. Like there's a reason why he's super blessed. Yeah. He gives.
Generous heart. Better to give than to receive, I believe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, where are you in, do you have any other business ventures you're doing? You got real estate, you got your podcast company. Are you going to build up your own hedge fund company before the market crashes and everybody's goes to depression level?
No hedge fund for me, guys. But I'm really gonna really focus in on building 8 billion and the real estate business. I think that there's going to be a need for my expertise that's out there.
I'm sure.
Like I said, I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you guys ever want to reach out. However, get with your, my biggest encouragement is don't wait if you feel like you're underwater or you're under distress. Like, know your options, educate yourself. That's the best thing you could do so you can maneuver through the times. Because like I said, if hopefully it doesn't pan out like the way the market did back in 2008. There was just a volume of people coming in. So it's just like for EDD, right? Like when there were so many people filing for unemployment, it was hard to get, in touch with someone, right? So it's the same situation here. If you are a person in distress, like, it happens. This is an unforeseen circumstances no one could see coming.
True.
So no one should be ashamed of like either your financial situation. You've just gotta be able to maneuver through the times. That's the fearless mindset.
Overcome and adapt and pivot. We all know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 2021 is shaping up to be an interesting thing. And Christopher sent me that email about iHeartRadio. So
yes, congratulations on that.
Thanks. He sent off the submittal, and I forgot all about it until yesterday. I'm like, oh wow, okay. I guess we have to do something now.
But so well deserved, Mark. I mean, when we first started talking about, when you started talking to me about podcasting, you're just like, just get in there. I think you were 3 months in and I was starting. Now I'm 3 months in. Right. And we're both just rolling it out. Yeah.
We're in the process of the grind.
Yep.
If I can give anybody advice, it's just believe in your dream.
Yeah.
Believe in your passion.
Absolutely.
And figure out what your why is, why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think offer solutions.
Yeah.
Like what the podcast guy said. And I thought something moving on the screen there. But yeah, it's just been a journey of figuring out what you're doing, where you're going.
Yeah.
Who are you and why you're doing it.
Absolutely. When you understand exactly why you're doing it, it has a force and a momentum that just takes you. And even when you're like, I want to stop,
whoa.
It won't make you stop because you're going.
It's a rocket ship.
Yeah, it's science.
So you just mentioned you're going to Florida for something too, right?
I am. I was fortunate enough to connect with Dave Seymour from Flipping Boston, and
wow,
it was really neat. I mean, he started. I think it's what do you call this? He has a private equity fund. I think it's called Freedom Ventures. So anyone that's interested in private equity in real estate, you know him. He's the expert in flipping homes. He was on A&E in Boston. And
how cool is that?
Yeah, I think he had like 4 or 5 seasons. So he's a really cool guy. He's now focused on residential multifamily units, so apartment buildings, because he believes that, that a lot of real estate investors believe that's where the trends are going right now, especially with where we are. Mm-hmm. And it's not, belief system is not built on like, oh, this is just my prediction. I mean, he's got this whole, I think, proprietary information where they do statistics and they've done their calculations. So he's with a team of really amazing, people that understand real estate funds. Of course, he understands the flipping side or what it takes to maintain properties. And of course, at the end of the day, it's the person's investment. So another thing, for a lot of people that are in California, and I know you feel like you're priced out of the market, a lot of people are also going out of state to invest in real estate. I mean, real estate is an amazing asset that, it's a great investment. You know why? Because at the end of the day, it's a tangible asset that you can touch. Mm-hmm. And it has 4 walls, it's something. So that's that. I'm going to be going to Florida just to maybe shadow him for a day to watch him close on an apartment complex.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's really, So Brandon T. Adams, if you're listening to this, Brandon and I will be out there.
Oh, you'll be out there with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was an amazing opportunity. And so that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
There, you circulate to this podcasting world, or not even in just the podcasting world, to the business world.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I have found the most in just the people that I've circulated, they're super generous. They're willing to give you a hand up, right? In your process, as long as you have this, you want to put in the work, that they can see there's this desire to do better. But honestly, it has to come from within. And so these network of people that you sometimes often think are untouchable, I think the reason that they're so generous is because someone gave them that hand up.
And they want to help somebody
And
else
they
out.
want to help
mentor
someone else
you
out. Yeah. I have people that are just starting out. Like I have someone from the Philippines that reached out to me, and he started a YouTube channel. I agreed to it, and I'm going to do as many as I can. You know what I mean? I'm just going to, it helps me, promote 8 billion in my real estate, and it also helps them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
As they continue to sit down, practice, they become better. They become better at interviewing. It's neat. It's kind of, you never know who's your next Joe Rogan.
You never do.
So you're Mark Ledlow.
Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. It's a journey for me.
You're welcome.
Anyway, we'll wrap this segment up, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for sharing, and we'll be back here in a couple minutes. Thanks. When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode.